This is an OCR F581 June 2014 past paper, obviously. What I'm going to do, obviously this is question one. We'll give you a bit of an overview of what the data response is all about. Now obviously you can look online, you're intelligent people, as I've said many times before. You can have a brief read through there. But really, as I said, a lot of this text, really, it's like being back in an English exam. You know this. Pick out the key bits. So the key bits that I've got for you, okay? The first point, the main point you need to be able to understand is a customer type has changed over the years. And it gives you a table there, just below line 5, okay? And it just says, I'm not going to bother reading it out actually, because you can look online for that. And I'll refer to it if needs be. And then it goes on to explain how, what there's a change in demand and what's caused it, okay? So it says the model kits have seen an increase in the number of substitutes. So later on we go on to discuss that. Later on it goes on to tell us that there are other competitors to Airfix. But at the beginning it's told us there's lots of alternatives for people who would have been interested in Airfix, so under 16s, before, such as obviously computer games. Now you can tell this was written by someone who was probably in the 50s because it's put computer-based video games rather than video games, okay? But, you know, whatever. Okay, not I've got anything against that. The Airfix brand has also become, it says it's become more popular to those over 16 because of James May's Toy Stories and where he built a World War II Spitfire plane. I actually watched that. It's quite a good episode, to be honest. And obviously, because that was, you know, it's one of the Top Gear trio, well, old Top Gear trio, I should say. Obviously, that resulted in quite an increase in the number of people wanting Spitfire kits, okay? And since they were introduced back in 1972, we're told that there's been a significant increase in quality, okay? So there's quite a lot in there that's to do with demand, changing demand for Airfix products, and changes within the actual product as well. So basically, so far the bits that we've got is there's been a customer change, okay, from sort of the younger generation. So more of the customers are now aged over 16, because of all those under 16 are on social media posting crud, okay. So obviously James May's Toy Stories is not going to be watched by your average 14-year-old. It's more for intelligent beings, okay. Anyway, so basically what we've got there is there's been a shift in the general customer type from under 16 to over 16. This is because the increase in quality and the advertising, which is appealed to the over 16s, okay, in terms of the actual TV, film program stuff, okay, and then under 16 there's been a decrease in the demand from that customer because they're more interested in blowing zombies' heads off on zombies. Okay, anyway, and we're also told obviously there's been an increase in quality. The marketing director of Airfix thinks he's a bit of an economist, okay? He thinks that in the UK's recession, okay, average incomes fell by about 10%, and the demand for the lower price kits only fell by 2%. Great, that's the phone call I tried to make a while ago. I'll have to pause this because probably some contractor agent or whatever. About that. Anyway, so we were talking about the changing customer type, okay, and the data response goes on to talk about, that because demand for the lower price kits only fell by 2%, believes that the demand for these kits is price elastic, okay. It should say price elastic in demand, but obviously, you know, they will expect you to, so they refer to it in a certain way, and if you refer to it in the same way, you don't get any marks, which is also quite nice. Okay, so just to give obviously a recap, that means price elasticity in demand. Okay, so it's price elastic in demand, so demand is not sensitive to a change. It's considered to be totally opposite of what I was going on to say. Demand is sensitive to a change in price. Okay, so price increase, demand would fall by a greater amount. Okay. But the another reason for the actual decrease in the demand was that a growing number of other manufacturers, as I mentioned before. Okay, and Airfix, like everything else that was previously made in the UK, MG, has moved over to China because it's cheaper to build there. Okay, so that's one of the things that it goes on to say. And the technology has been increased. However, despite the fact there's lower cost production, Airfix can only produce a limited number of different kits, and therefore has to make choices over which planes and other models it was produced. Okay, which is actually leads us on to the first question. Okay, then it goes on to talk about the pollution in China, the pollution problems that China faces. Okay, so basically it talks about ways that the Chinese government is under pressure to control pollution. Right, and then we go on more to talk about Airfix. Okay, it says remained a successful firm by using different advertising methods such as YouTube, Facebook, and its own Airfix club and Airfix magazine. Okay, so the really key things that you need to take away from that: the change in the customer type. Okay, which obviously pre-16 to post-16. Okay, due to the increasing number of substitutes for under 16-year-olds. Obviously, over 16-year-olds can use computer games, but as this proves, the people generally don't want to. Okay, and obviously that is through advertising as well, and increasing the quality of the products, which all mean the demand has shifted from pre-16 to post-16. Okay, and also we're told that the products are price elastic we're told that the kits are price elastic in demand, but it talks about income elasticity in demand as well, so it does confuse you. That's why my brain was going, oh, what are you going on about here? And then we're told that they're moving to China, but they still have to decide which kits they want to produce. Okay, and then it goes on to talk about they've also used other forms of advertising. Okay, so as I said, that was a quick recap of the data that we're given there. So as I said, you can go online and have a quick check of that, but I've given you a readout of what it says pretty much, and all the key bits of information, which I'll be referring back to. I couldn't be bothered writing them on the board because, well, I can't be bothered. Alright, so the first question is actually really quite easy. It says define the term opportunity cost. Now, I don't need to write this on the board. Hopefully you should know this. It says easily got from the mark scheme. It's just the cost of the next best alternative foregone. Okay, first mark for that is the cost of the next best alternative, and the second mark is have it right in the words foregone on there. Okay, it's really easy, 2 marks. Next part, 1B. Explain how Airfix is influenced by opportunity cost when making decisions. Okay, well, towards the end of the data that we were given, the data response part, okay, we were told that Airfix still, even though they can only produce limited kits, so therefore when you apply opportunity cost, okay, I'm surprised I didn't roll that into one question, by the way, but anyway, you talk about, so there's 1B, you talk about how the opportunity cost, I'll write OP, is choosing one model over the other, okay, in terms of choosing to produce one model over another. Okay, so that is the opportunity cost. Obviously the cost of the next best alternative are gone, therefore you apply this to the cost of choosing one airplane model over the other for a kit, because obviously if they use the resources to produce one airplane kit, okay, obviously they can't use that resources again to produce another airplane model. Okay, so that is essentially what it is. Now it's only worth 2 marks. Obviously one is for using the Airfix, okay, example, and then applying to say, well, it goes one over the other. 2. Oh, actually, so break this up. That was the end of question 1. So that's the end of question 1. Really quite a simple question. Okay, so no part C or anything. No, just 1A and B. I really do think I probably should have included question 2, but why not? Okay, just keep it as simple as it is. Alright, so that's the end of question 1. Thanks for watching, and we're going to move on to question 2.